Duke Gilderic, I feel that I misunderstand the situation. Is it true that you are attempting to rob my son of the Duchy of Kent? My liege, your son is a drunk. He's drinking himself to death. He is an embarrassment to this. He is my son. But I have a claim to that land too, my lord. He is my son. He is my son, but I am not only the senior member of your house, good Duke, but I am also your king. You will cease this war. And you will not declare another on my son while I live. This time, I ask you. Next time, in spite of what people may believe of me, I will have to do the unthinkable. Yes, uncle. Of course. Hello and welcome, connoisseurs of Crusader Kings 3, friends of the channel and newcomers alike. We are here once again, and for the very first time, with our Cernu Dynasty of Cornwall. I thought that because we needed something between the end of the Kashmiri series and the beginning of the Persian expansion, we would do something that I talked about in the comments, which is bring back the old Cernu Dynasty for another go. Just a short one. We've got one very special story we want to tell, and as you can see, it begins with a death. Old King Ricat's son, Prince Resmen, has had an extraordinarily stressful life since his mother died and he inherited the title from her, the Duke of Kent. Being Duke over his two younger brothers caused him a great deal of stress and strained his relationship with them both. But it wasn't from their direction that came the push that would topple this young man before his time. No. It was his nearby cousin in Wessex who would finally declare war on him and attempt to rob from him a title that he clearly had rights to inherit directly from his own mother. Old King Ricat, being a peace-loving man, ended the war between the two by a dynastic demand. But the damage was done. Suffering from the old family curse, Prince Resmen never recovered, and within a week of the end of the war, died, having drunk himself to death. His poor young son, Old King Ricat's ward, now Duke Egfrit, takes over, unready, both for his duties as Duke and for his future role as the King of Old Cornwall. So I thought this was a really interesting, naturally occurring occurrence from the end of the old game. When we ended the old game, I don't think I was even aware of the fact that poor Prince Resmen was right on the edge of drinking himself to death. We're just going to start the game, get off of that poor death screen, and look at what our situation is. We are the Duke of Kent. We control all of the territories that were once held by King Ricat's wife. We shall take a moment and look at her. Hello, King Ricat. King Ricat, of course, our last character, is still alive and kicking. He is doing fine at the age of 66, so he's still got a few years inside in him. He is our guardian. We are his ward. Our grandmother, Queen Helga, of course, was the rightfully inheriting Duchess of Kent. And, of course, she had a very successful and loving relationship with her strange, diplomatic wanderer of a husband who made both himself and the alliance known as Grand Cornwall famous throughout the world by traveling to every corner of it that he could reach. Our grandfather, King Ricat, is our only guide on the path towards becoming King of Cornwall, and we'll need all the support we can get. We have a regent. This regent is our uncle and one of our vassals, Prince Carthan, son of Ricat, of course. He is, well, he's not selfless, we'll say that. He is definitely self-interested. we may have trouble with him when we take over if we can't improve our relationship with him. Of course, he has skin in the game because he is, where is it? Yes, of course, there it is. He has a pressed claim on the Duchy of Kent, so we have to be careful about him because he is not really our ally, and by his liking of us, we can see he's also not really our friend. Here in South 6, we have another one of our uncles, Prince Sigaric, another one of Ricat's sons. He doesn't like us at all, mostly because he deserves a position on the council, and unlike his brother here, Ilcarthon, he doesn't have the juicy position of regent to make him feel more comfortable with not being on the council. And then finally we have our last uncle, the other brother of our father, Prince Minver the Cruel, over here in Somerset. And he also is unhappy not having a position on the council. We can fix that to a degree right away, because it is the beginning of the game and we want to fix our council. And while we fix our council here, we will talk a little bit about how we're going to be running this series. We're going to be reverting a little bit from what we did, the change of the last series. I found that although I did enjoy the last series very much, it was lacking a lot in the deep roleplay that I wanted because of the choice to run fast too often. So what I would like to do in this game is keep the game slow. And if playing slow creates big gaps, we will cut those gaps instead of trying to speed over them. I think that's better for the gameplay. It worked better at the beginning of the last series. But for the most part, we're going to try to stay in here and cover the time by learning about the people around us and learning about the area and making decisions about who we are and what we're going to do. So our steward is going to be this Reeve, Kenrud, right here. I think we'll make a fine steward, so we'll just stick him in. And then we're going to make our marshal here, our uncle, Prince Minver the Cruel. We're going to take this woman, this random, unlanded, lowborn woman out of the position of spy master and place Prince Sigaric in that position. And then this guy, Riolan of Bristol, we're actually going to remove him. And we're going to put... Oh, he actually doesn't appear on the list. That's interesting. Who am I missing? Sigaric Minver. Where's the other prince? Ilcarthon. Okay, so Ilcarthon is actually not really good enough to be our chancellor, although there are other positions he could take. So let's just see. This Reeve here, though, who we put in place, we could move him over there. And then we can put the last of our uncles in place. I think, at least for a start, this will stabilize their feelings towards us a little bit. Our bishop here, who is also named Kenrud, is very, very skilled at his job, which is good for us at the start. But we are going to have to improve these relationships. The most important relationship for us to improve first is going to be our steward here, who we are too young to sway, of course. I guess we should look at ourselves then, before we go any further. We are 11 years old. We are actually pretty good. We are very lucky on our traits, because 11 is the youngest that you can possibly have 3 traits, and we do have all 3 of our traits at 11. That means there is a possibility we may hit 4 traits. It's not likely, but it is statistically possible. When you get 3 traits before the age of 13, it's possible to get the 4th trait, but that would be really lucky. We have some money from our father. We have no good income. We are patient, which means we're very slow. We're honest, and we're diligent. One of the ways I'm thinking of portraying this character, just to make him unique, is we're going to portray honest as something of a negative trait at times. In other words, he's going to be no filter type honest. I hope you'll learn what I mean by that more as we play, though. Our goal for this game is going to be very simple. It's to try to create relationships with the people around us and simply survive the coming turmoil that is going to assuredly happen when the old king, our grandfather, dies, and we take his place. Assuming that that's what happens. If it isn't what happens, then we may just have to deal with that as it comes. Because of our traits, I think that we are a young man who really does care about doing a good job and succeeding, but he's not in a rush. He's not in a rush. He doesn't like to interfere with other people. In fact, he likes to smooth things over with people, I would say, and try to get them on his side so that his broader goals can succeed. He has good potential to be a future knight, although he's not particularly skilled at martial. He is very skilled in his educational choice, which is learning. Although his grandfather, who is his teacher, does not have a learning education, he is a spectacularly educated man and should be able to take care of him quite well on that behalf. If we look at his education, we can see that he is a pedagogue. He spent a decent amount of time working his way down the scholar tree, although unlike many of his family, he never did complete it. As for relationships, we have two friends. One of them is our mother. We're very close with our mother. Our mother is Cisalpine, so she is North Italian. She is our friend. She's pretty compassionate, although she's unpredictable. She probably is going to get remarried pretty fast, which may take her out of our court. Unless we use her to bring someone to our court who we might be able to get on our side against all the people who are against us. Now, we talked a little bit also about the fact that here in Wessex, Duke Gurdilic declared war on our father, hired a bunch of mercenaries, and attempted to conquer him. He had a military strength with when those mercenaries were still around that was more than double ours. He also had allies, which means there was no chance that we could have won without, that our father could have won without his father's intervention. We don't have a treaty, though, of course, because our father died and that killed the treaty. Which means he may try to make a move on us again. And if he does, we're probably going to have trouble. Because we just do not have the strength to stand against him on our own. We're going to need to try to find an alliance that will discourage people from making conflict with us right away. We're going to try to find an alliance, and the only lever we really have to find an alliance is ourself and our sister, possibly. We, though, could arrange a marriage for ourselves. A local alliance is probably the most useful. What we're going to do to find this alliance here is we are going to go and we're going to make this child so that it stays children, and then we're going to do alliance power among the children. This French albino has the strongest alliance. Oh, so she's the daughter of the Queen of Lotharingia. We have had a long history of having connections to both Lotharingia, West Francia, and Aquitaine. So there's some interest there. This is our close cousin, so we're not marrying her. She's up in the land of the stag. House Cernu. And this is too far away. This is... She's not very bright. I don't think we would want to marry someone who's not very bright. It's another Lyonese one. This is related to our grand uncle, King Dumnarth. Sicilian. Breton. This is also technically a relative of ours, but very distantly. I don't know if Breton is a good alliance. I think maybe this French alliance might be for the best. This is Aquitaine. Do we want to marry an albino? I think it's a good match. I mean, she doesn't have great traits. is in fact very unpleasant. I don't know if we want to commit to marrying an unpleasant girl just for an alliance. But we also have the Carling. That's a long way off to a marriage, but it's a very strong alliance right away. I think that's the right decision for us. That should discourage any of our immediate neighbors from attacking us, which is definitely something we need. And yeah, I think we're gonna start running, and then we're gonna start exploring the area around us. We have lots of claims, but I don't think any of them are the kind of claims we would pursue, because they're all things that we will either inherit or are held by our grandfather, and we're not going to be chasing after anything like that. But we do need more strength than we currently have. We're going to have a real hard time breaking out of our situation if we only have this one small domain to deal with. Our one county is set up pretty good financially, but it's not set up too good militaristically. Of course, we don't have a lot of places to assign our troops. We have way more troops than we have locations. So we might want to think about replacing some of these economic buildings with militaristic ones. That could be an idea. I mean, do we have a heavy cavalry unit? Because at least the wall would give them a bonus. Oh, we don't. We may also have to disband one of these. That doesn't give us a lot of options right now. To have these mercenaries, also probably hired by our father to try to win that war, but as you can see clearly early on they were destroyed. Really, this is all developed to the extent we can. There's not a lot we can do. What else is in here? We have this. Are we in a Lyonese duchy? We're in an Anglo-Saxon duchy. So that's the very first thing we're going to want to do. We don't want to be in an Anglo-Saxon duchy. Unless we plan to become Anglo-Saxon ourselves, we would rather become Lyonese. So let's just begin with that. Let's just promote our culture here. It should also help us out with some of the other problems we have. Constructing a new holding. I'm pretty sure Lyonese can construct new holdings, but the Anglo-Saxons can't. We'll just look. So in order to construct a new holding, we don't have the money, but we do have city planning. So we just need the money. The question is this going to stabilize after we raise all our troops? We may need to drop one of his units. Okay, we want to probably repair the Bejeweled Scriptures before they break. Do we have anything else? So we have a sword. We have a Catalan sword. All right. We have a bright feather. We have Bejeweled Scriptures. We have a +1 learning bonus from this Water Leaper figurine. Feels like some of these things must have been given to our father by Ricat, because they feel like things that Ricat had, but they may not be. He may have just gained similar items himself. We also want to spend our money as much as we can to... I mean, we can't go on a university visit because we're a child, but we can meet peers. So let's do a meet peers in Dover. Let's use this as an excuse to pick a caravan master. This guy and this guy are both excellent. This guy has speed and defense, and this guy has just defense. But this guy doesn't hate us, which I think is a huge point for him. This guy, though, Utherud, he doesn't share the same name as us and is a dwarf, which is pretty cool. And he's average, but I think we're gonna go with this guy. We don't actually need a caravan master for meet peers, but we're gonna do it anyway because I think it's cool. Then we're just gonna start the event. We should be doing every meet peers we can because they're really good events. We could invite knights, but I don't think we're gonna do that right away because we have enough knights. What is this? Ransom. You're willing to release this courtier of mine. I'm not particularly interested in his release, not for 10 gold. I don't know him. You know what? No, I'm honest, so I will actually pay his ransom. I can't leave him in prison. That's it's not a good decision. I don't think that that's something we would do. So it's a good deal. He really does not like us. All right, meet peers. Our very first activity. We all have our toys. Who's this? This is our cousin. He is the son of Minver. All right. And this is also our cousin, the son of, oh, I'm surprised he sent his son over. Gurdilic sent his son over. Huh. Interesting. There are other guests too. As you can see, we have a vast family, so many of these guests are members of our own family. So this is all the other son of Gurdilic. This is the son of Minver, because he's literally Minver's son. This is our brother. This is our sister. This is Ulfred. This is Ulfelston. Jeez, he sent literally all of his children to me. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Is this not our sister then? Oh no, this is not our sister. This is Minver's other child. So basically, 2 families sent everybody. That's okay. As the small lords and ladies are ushered into the room, I feel myself grow giddier and giddier. I am thrilled that my cousin Ricat and my cousin Ulfelston could both make it, not to mention Tumalunk, the son of Winnick of Banbury. Oh, I don't know who that is, but okay. Hopefully we can develop some better relationships with these children than we have with their parents. My cousin Ulfelstan and I agree that trade is an important skill for a noble to learn, so we decide to visit the local market in Kent. We only have some pebbles for currency, but they are very shiny, so we are not that great a steward. I would like to purchase a ware, please. I love that sentence. You have to give me what I want. I'm a lord. Let's set up our own stall. I think we're gonna do this. It's suggested by our diligent and curious, so we'll do it. And we have gained a stewardship point. Very nice. Feels like we're off to a good start, but it's hard to say. There are so many threats in the world to us. Very few of our neighbors like us much, but most of them don't outright hate us, which is good. As long as everything remains stable until we're old enough to sway, we should be fine. Meet peers come out and play. A ball bounces past me, scooped back into the waiting arms of Ricat. Do you want to join? I've got a ball, and we could do with some more players. A small crowd of kids gathers around us. I'll join. I don't really feel like it. I don't really feel like it does lose us some stress. Why would we lose stress? Because we're curious. I guess we're not too into sports, but I don't think that's true. I think we're here to have fun with the other kids, and so we're not going to hold back. We may be bad at martial, but we are a pretty good fighter, which implies we do like some physical activity. Meet peers, senior moment. Will you be quiet for the love of God? Wine is leaning out of a mullioned window above us, apoplectic, shaking a fist. You blasted kids are making such a racket I can barely hear myself think. I pick up the ball as it approaches me, regarding the old man as he chunters down at us. He is truly ancient, maybe even 30 or 40 years old. No wonder he's angry. Be quiet, you mad old fool. Okay, so we gained disrespected elder for 25 years. That's a long time. That's a very long time. These parochial vassals, they have long memories. Children will like us forever, but this guy personally will not like us. We could become a rival with him. It's not good to have adult rivals. We're sorry, we'll be more quiet. 50% chance of increasing diplomacy. I think we care about diplomacy more, so let's flip the coin. Didn't get it. Oh well, there's always next time. So our regent has swung the scales of power in his direction. I am going to leverage prestige to try to pull it back, because I don't want him to gain a lot of control. I would like him to like us, but not at the expense of him becoming so powerful that we can't handle him. The ball bounces erratically as it passes me, ricocheting off a wall and into the nearby garden. A split second later, a splintering noise and an irate cry herald the coming consequences. Senilda storms out of a doorway, cradling her damaged animal figurine. Scanning the crowd, she identifies me as the culprit. What do you have to say for yourself, you little snot-nosed brat? She snarls. I am literally... I know what I got to say to you. We're going to have a conversation after this about who the boss is here, because you are a lowborn nothing. My mother will pay for repairs. I'm sorry, maybe have the ball back. So let's another flip the coin on diplomacy. She lost opinion of us. Well, guess what? Goodbye. You don't get to live here anymore. I may be a generally good kid, but I'm not going to be yelled at an old lady because we played a game of ball. That's just not happening. You know? We have to stand up for the prestige of our position. You don't just come over and yell at us when we get to decide whether you go or stay. Is that cruel? I don't actually think so. I think it was honest. I think he honestly despised her and didn't want her around after she yelled at him. It was good to forget all the responsibilities for a while and spend time with other children, but I am told I have to return to my duties now. We all had such fun. Hopefully we can do this again soon. Until next time. Nice. Finish the meat piers? All right. So let's put the check on the meat piers so that we can do it again. Oh, that's not in there anymore. It's here now. I must demand you send your brother to my court as a hostage. This is the best guarantee of peace. This is my uncle, my great uncle, Gosselin. No. Not a chance. I'm not sending my brother to you. He can stay with his uncle. Why must you be so cruel? I've done nothing to you. And your claim is spurious. I don't even know how you would get a pressed claim. Did you like, ask the Pope for it or something because my father did something wrong? Because you have no direct lineage claim to my mother's territory. But your claim is meaningless because we're not going to bow to you just because we're a child. Grandfather has taught us to stand up for ourselves, and we're going to. Our father did too. Although our father was much more difficult to deal with than grandfather is. All the drinking. It's no wonder that the grandfather calls alcohol the curse of the family. The loose gravel underfoot crackles as Camilla and I trudge through it. It brings to mind the craggy exteriors of buildings across the realm. I want to build something, Camilla blurts out. Clearly sharing my thoughts, we should construct something here, in this garden, a model of some kind. She immediately starts scanning our surroundings, looking for material. As Camilla scampers off towards a nearby stack of wood, I ponder more on the nature of our activity. Build what, precisely? Walls and towers. Something big, like a keep. Our very own center of learning, like a temple. I think we're going to take the education focus because we're diligent and we want to learn more and stay on top of our studies, and we also really want to impress our grandfather. You know, we actually want to impress him quite a lot. How much will it cost for us to build a castle here? 88 more gold. So that's what we're sort of saving up for right now. Build a second castle right here in the forest in Kent, because that will help us to create our strength without us having to figure out how to conquer people when we're just a boy. King Ricat's pedagogy has increased my learning by 1. Thank you, grandfather. Thank you so much. So our culture has discovered battlements. Our grandfather is such a learned man. It's one of the reasons why we want to be like him so much. He's also very famous. I think we see our grandfather, especially the learning part of his personality, as something of an inspiration. In spite of his education being in diplomacy, he is extraordinarily knowledgeable. A guardian's influence. I don't enjoy loneliness, yet I struggle to enjoy the company of others. There's always a feeling of worry that I'm making a fool of myself during social interactions. I don't know if I'm alone in these thoughts. I caught a glimpse of King Ricat during a social event where all in attendance had a drink in hand and wide smiles. Perhaps there's some truth in saying that wine helps you relax. Could this be a cure for my shyness? Or we can gain the trait zealous. This is an interesting event. So this is one of the new events that takes place. What's interesting about it is it may be that we're in a bit of a strange state because this save was from beforehand. We already had 3 traits, but because we're so young, the game may not know what to do with us. I'm not sure. No. My shyness is a trial from God. This must be Satan tempting me, because we're actually not shy. This may be one of those rare circumstances where an old save causes strange interactions. I would like to become more diplomatic, that's for sure. It isn't quite a failing of mine, but it's also something I'm not super good at. On the other hand, there's nothing wrong with being a little zealous. It would give me martial, which actually helps one of my most... Although I'm not even sure that's something we personally value. I think we're going to go to try to cure our shyness. Hopefully we don't become an alcoholic like our father. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully that's not where we go. We're not employing a wet nurse. Well, I don't know that we need one. I guess we have a younger sister and a younger brother. Maybe we should just take a second here and do some marriages. Because this is the beginning of a new court, effectively, even though I haven't been 100% treating it that way. So we should get our marriages done, you know? They are important. We have my mother. So who might our mother marry who would be worthwhile? Another knight, maybe? Sigrid Dispenser? Dispenser is the family that used to hold Wessex, but they were pushed out when the last of their line, a daughter, patrilineally married a member of the Cernu family. Would like to bring Sigrid Dispenser in. They have been a family that was loyal to our dynasty for a long time. One of our ancestors actually rose up the very first dispenser a long, long time ago when they were just a knight. So let's do a matrilineal marriage and bring him in. Not really finding anyone ideal. I was hoping for someone with children in their 30s. Wow. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So you can marry her. And then we will make her... She'll probably be a fine wet nurse. So we'll make her the wet nurse. And because she's still relatively young, she can also be wet nurse to our children as well, I think. Will work fine. Yep, average is good enough. Let's appoint her. Good. I don't feel terribly threatened by him. But I do know that he will probably declare war on us again, but we now have a strong ally that will make that much more likely for us to make it through, for us to survive. So now we have done our first meet peers, we have done a bit of marrying. What do you want to do? I've been playing with my brother Ferverdyn for the better half of the day, and I have been having so much fun. We've played Herferneffel, and as our game comes to a close, he bests me and I'm left dumbstruck. That was fun. Now what do we do? This is my chance to pick something that I may yet win. Let's race on stilts. Let's play with the Teetotum. I think we're gonna race on stilts. Let's do it. The game! We set aside the playing board and prepare our stilts. I am raised aloft almost as high as a grown man, and my tiny legs struggle to keep me aloft as these staggering heights. Once my opponent has risen to find his unsteady footing, we're off! Ferverdyn hardly makes it a few hours before falling flat in his face, leaving me the victor. Looming over my opponent from my mighty stilts, I am free to take my prize. That was too easy, loser. Good game, my brother. Good game. My brother scarred? My brother is scarred. Huh. Interesting. Look at his memories and see if we can figure out... Oh, nope, that's his education focus. Does he have a guardian? He does. Oh, yeah, of course he does. Let's look at his memories. Ulfrid. Cernu is his friend. My father drank himself to death. My grandmother, Helga, succumbed to apoplexy. Yes, we know about that. So he has no memory of how he got his scar. That's too bad. I would have liked to have learned that little piece of information. I do wonder, what if we expand into Berkshire? Now, just thinking about it logically and listening to the advice not of our grandfather who would tell us not to do such things, but rather the advice of our regent who might just suggest it. Old King Ricat seems to want us to increase our military contribution. He wants us to protect the borders by making us a march. Okay, that's fine. I'm not actually sure what being a march does, but it does might make sense that we would be one. I have to look at my liege because he's the person that I have my contract with, right? So let's just look. Oh, this intensely unfair contract has to be a holdover from when they were under the King of England. That's bad. I mean, it's fine. Like, it's really fine because eventually we're gonna be the king. Right, so it's not that bad. How is he doing? He's still doing fine though, so it'll be quite a long time. We'll probably come of age before he passes on. I really don't think we would see this as any kind of tyranny because it's just what we're used to. So let's look at our possible alliances. He will not do it. He will not do it. He will not do it. But our regent will. as will our other uncle. That's good. I think that puts us in a slightly better position. And I think that our regent is whispering in our ear that if we take Berkshire, when we become the Duke of Oxfordshire, which we will, gain that title on succession, I'm pretty sure, if we look at succession here. So we're not getting twice? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess that's because we're still in partition. So we're... Did he move the capital? Oh, he moved the capital back to Cornwall. Huh. That's what happens when you're not playing. When you're not playing your own a character that was yours anymore. He does things you would never have done. So actually, we will not be getting Oxfordshire, and we will not be getting the university. Instead, we will be getting Cornwall, and then we'll be getting Cornwall as well, right? I wonder who this will go to. This is Devon. We can be unpaused while we explore this stuff. Right? Who's going to get Devon? Our uncle, Stuart, and Regent. I'm honored by your request and I'm glad to be an ally. Good. Good. So he moved the capital. He moved the capital down to Cornwall out of Oxfordshire, even though Oxfordshire is, by all rights, just better. I wonder why he would do that. Huh. Huh. All right. Well, you know, there's not much that can be done about that. He decided, so that's going to mean that this will no longer go to us. This will now go to someone else. I actually almost kind of feel cheated. I really do. I feel like our old grandfather is just devised an underhanded scheme to favor his children over us. No, he would never do that. He's a good man. Likely he did it for sake of tradition. In spite of the fact it was literally never the capital. The capital was Devon. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's up to. What is this? So, Upper Burgundy. Claim on the county of Zurich. Because I am not sure anymore at all who's getting what. So Devon is going to my steward. Oxfordshire. Oxfordshire is going to Somerset. Very interesting. So our territories are going to be very far apart. We do need to try to, like, swing the scales of power against him again. We don't want to use gold. I suppose we can use piety. A lot of piety, though. I guess it's going to have to be prestige. Because we can't just let him keep doing that, right? We need to keep him in control to at least a degree. So 54 gold, and we get a claim on Berkshire. That claim actually means a lot less to me than it did previously. I'll tell you that. We could do this, but I don't think we're gonna. I think we want to have that claim so we can think about it in the future, but we're not doing anything about it right now because we're not strong enough, and we don't want to take that. We don't want to take that risk. Not this early. It's too early for that. Languages in my family tree. My mother occasionally inserts a word of Italian vulgar here or there. We also just became strong. I didn't mention it, but it was right there. I'm sure if I put in an effort, I may become proficient enough to talk with my mother in a new way. I can speak like mama. I will take the stress and learn Italian vulgar because I think that's worth it. And then we will stop here for a second. We will see that we have become strong. That's actually quite cool. Very nice. +4 prowess. We are very, very tough. We are a very healthy young man. Very, very nice. Very healthy. Okay. So I think this is going to be the end of the first episode. We've sort of settled into our position. You know, we started at 11, we ended at 14. We're doing pretty good. We've become strong. We've had a little bit of a tussle with our uncle here, but it's pretty good, and he likes us better than he did at the start, which is nice. I think he likes the fact we're standing up for ourselves. We do still want to build this castle. We got this this claim here. We might press that claim later once we're king. Mostly we did it because our regent suggested we should. He thought that it would be a good way for us to expand our power, but we're not convinced, so we did it, but now we're sort of backing down and not actually declaring the war. Makes a lot of sense, though, because she's very equivalent to us in power. Very equivalent to us in power. She has one ally here. That ally can't join her, though, so we probably would have a slight advantage over her if we declared war on her. Like, what does it say happens if we do this? She has 2 allies. So, basically, it'd come down to Lotharingia. If Lotharingia joins me, then I win. If Lotharingia joins her, she wins. It's pretty much a stalemate. So that's a good reason to hold off for now. We are honest, but we have already proven in this episode that in spite of the fact honesty is a virtuous trait among Catholics, sometimes our honesty isn't great because we kicked out that poor woman for telling us because we honestly didn't want her around anymore. And sometimes what can seem like a good trait can cause you to do bad things. And with that little piece of RP insight into this character, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope you join me the next time we are here with Duke Egofirth ab Resmen, the young Duke and future King of Cornwall. Goodbye for now. Grandfather, I don't know why you moved the court. Yes, grandson? You have a question about my motivations? I do. I just thought... You thought that you would become king, and your seat would be in Oxford, in a place of learning. You thought that that would be more comfortable for you. Yeah, yes, my lord. That is exactly what I thought. It feels like I'm being cheated. You are being cheated of wealth in order to gain opportunity. Cornwall is undeveloped. There are 2 strongholds there. One which will help you to fortify your army, and one which is pristine and untouched that you can build for yourself to make yourself a home. Kent was your grandmother's. It was hardly your father's, and though you grew up there, and I know that you think of it as your home, Cornwall has and always been the spiritual heart of this kingdom. It is where I wish to spend the last of my days, and it is where I think you should rule from. I hadn't really thought of it like that.